myself for a good video. It's a pleasure to be here visiting with a couple of fine gentlemen here we've had a chance to get to over the years. John and Blake Penn, and you guys are Penn Country Hams, and we're here to have a chance to tour your facility today and see this historic operation. Tell us a little bit about, John, maybe we can start with you. Tell us a little bit about the history of Penn Country Hams. How did you guys get started, and what's the history of this business?
Well, goes back several years to my grandfather and his father, and they cured hams here on the farm, and they would cure extra hams because they had a store in Mansville, and they would sell or trade hams at this store down at Mansville. And then my dad, when he come along, he was going to Western College, and he would take some of them extra hams and peddle them to some restaurants going to Western. And the first restaurant he got was, it was called Porter's Family Restaurant down in Suffolk Wells, Kentucky. And now it's called Lighthouse Restaurant. That was the very first restaurant he got, and we still have that restaurant today. And they're well known for country ham dinners. And then Dad, after he got out of college, he seen that he could make some money out of peddling hams. So he increased it, and increased it to 500 hams. And he got out and started peddling more hams. But then there wasn't packaged hams, it was all whole.
Okay.
And here on the farm, if somebody come along to get a ham, we had a meat saw, a hand meat saw, not an electric one, but a hand saw, and we would, if they want the hot cut off or the butt cut off, we could do that, but that was all sold whole. And then as time went on, he built a bigger building, and then we had a bandsaw. We would saw hams, still wasn't boning and packaging anything yet. And then as time progressed, we got into deboning, slicing, and then the vacuum machine come along, and then we started vacuuming packages, and then it started to grow.
He was doing 500 back in the early days.
Yeah.
That's a lot of hams.
Yeah. Back in probably 65, he was doing about 500 hams.
That's a lot of hams.
Yeah. And today, I think we're selling around 50,000.
Yeah, selling around 50,000.
50,000. That's a lot of hams. A lot of hams.
Yeah. Well, for us, it's a lot of hams.
Oh, yeah.
Some of the ham producers, that's not much, but for us, it's pretty good.
So how did you get started, John? What's your story?
Well, like I say, my dad, he had the farm, and he was selling crop insurance and a few things, so he wasn't around a lot, and I would wait on some of the customers that would come, because they just drive up. We didn't have store hours or anything. You just drive up and knock on the door, and we'd sell you ham. And then when I got into high school, that's when we was deboning hams by then. And after school and on Saturdays, I worked deboning and sawing hams. And then I got out of high school, graduated, got married, and I still worked in the ham business. And we bought a plant in Bardstown. It used to be old Bardstown Country Hams. And we bought it, and we got in it at the wrong time. That was in the 80s when the interest rate went to 19%. Dad went through a divorce, and it was just a very difficult time. And we eventually sold that building and moved back and added on to this one we're at here. And in the meantime, I had quit and went to UPS.
Okay.
And then come out of UPS, and Dad was going to sell the business. He was getting older and just didn't feel like putting in the work. So me and my son, we purchased the building from him, and we got back into more curing, added on. We got some grant money and helped us out, and we really have expanded it a lot. More up-to-date equipment, and it's progressing pretty good right now.
Dad still come around?
Yeah, he lives right here beside us. Back in the day, they always built the ham house right behind the house, and that's kind of bad when you want to sell your business, because it's stuck in your back door. And it works out good, because he's just right here beside us. He'll come over and check on us and see if we're doing it correctly.
Inspection?
Yeah.
Gotta have a little inspection now.
But he thinks everybody should stop what they're doing and talk to him, and we're kind of too busy for that, so he gets insulted and goes back to the house.
How old's your dad?
He's 89. He'll be turning 90 next year, and he's still fairly active.
Really? So
Still slowing down a lot. But
comes over visits quite a
Yeah,
bit.
yeah.
I like that. So Blake, how'd you get into it? What's your story?
When I was when I was a kid, I would come in because my dad worked here. I would learn how to debone the hams, and I would just that's kind of what I'd learned how to do. I could debone hams. I would kind of come in and they would let me.
Can I say one
Yeah,
thing?
that
I had a milk cart, and I would put it on beside the boning table, and he'd stand on that milk cart.
Oh, really?
And debone the
Nice.
ham.
Yeah, so I learned how to debone the hams. I probably started like in 6th grade through like middle school. I would get off the bus and they let me debone a few hams. And then when I got into high school, occasionally I would want a job. I did played sports, so I didn't work a lot. And I would come in and my grandfather would let me work here on and off. So sporadically, I helped make sausage and clean, debone ham. So I kind of knew the general workings of the building as far as production in the back. They didn't let me get into too much because I was young, so I knew how to jerk a ham off, take a ham apart and skin it, make the sausage, kind of in that realm.
I wouldn't let him have the checkbook. So
Yeah, I didn't know any of the managerial roles, I guess you'd say. But that's where I had gotten in my younger years, and then I ran a store for a while in Mansville, and I guess that gave me a little bit of taste of the business world somewhat, and I didn't really like that too well. It just didn't work out. To me, you need to buy a convenience store where there's a lot of people coming in and out. But anyways, after I got done doing that, like he said, my grandfather was gonna sell the business off, so we wanted to try and see what we could do with it. So I come in and for the first couple of years, I just worked in the back. Before my grandfather was going to sell it, I come in and just started working in the back, kind of managed the back and learned how it was all working. And then when he wanted to get rid of it, I transitioned to the front and started kind of like a general manager. Yeah.
So neat story of how you got there. You mentioned a little bit, John. How's this business changed since your dad started? You mentioned a little bit about that. You might talk a little bit more about what you're doing now versus what you 50,000 hams versus 500 a year.
When we first, our family history goes back to Virginia, and when we come here to Kentucky for this land here was a land grant, and the recipe they had for curing hams was straight salt.
Okay.
Salt and pepper. They would cure it in straight salt, and they pepper coated the outside of it, and that's what we've done for years. And then people started wanting to get away from the saltier flavor, and we started experimenting with adding sugar. Now it takes salt to cure ham.
Right.
You know, it takes at least 80% salt to cure ham. If you use pure sugar, it spoils. So you got to have the salt. So we started experimenting with adding sugar, and that's what we use now. The straight salt cured ham, we eliminated it. North Carolina still has a lot of salt cured hams, but or straight salt cured hams. And I'd say that was the biggest change for us, is switching over to a less salty ham. And then the seasons is controlled. It's controlled temperatures now. Before it was what do you call it?
Ambient. We do it artificially.
Ambient temperatures, and so if you buy a ham from us in March, it will be the same flavor as a ham in November, because we control the whole seasons year round, and that's a big difference now. Because before, you cure a ham in the winter. When you use ambient temperatures, you have to cure it in the winter, and then it goes through the July sweat, and then it's ready to sell that fall or that winter. And so you only had hams at a certain flavor at that time of year. Well, with controlled temperatures, we control it year round, and I can have a ham that tastes like it would in November, in March or February.
Change your business a little bit.
Yeah,
Change the whole business plan.
Yeah, maybe change the whole business plans. Yeah,
right. So,
yeah, you have a more consistent product year round.
So what makes your ham special? What makes a Penn Country ham special?
We age ours more than most companies, but that also means ours is a little more expensive than others, because we lose a lot more weight. The longer they hang, the more shrinkage you got. And but we feel like that the flavor intensifies. Well, we know it does with aged ham. And we normally don't smoke our hams for flavor. We let the age process give it the ham flavor. Some of the other ham companies that really do volume, they put them out 75 days old, smoke them really heavy because there's no flavor much at 75 days old, and they can sell them a lot cheaper because they only have, I think, around 18% shrink.
You have to have 18.
And they try to stay at around 18% shrink, and we go around at least 25% shrink. So our hams cost a little more, but we feel like they got more flavor to them.
When people come see if they came saw their hams at the beginning of the process, look at them at the end, they think, where'd part of my ham go?
Yeah, it's through that shrinkage, yeah.
Obviously, so you think it makes the flavor richer by doing that?
Oh yeah, I know it does. And then you was talking about the shrink. When somebody wants us to cook on a ham, we take it, we cut the hock off, bud off of it, take the bone off of it, cook it, trim it, and then they've just got this little pile of meat left, and they go, where's my ham? That's not the one I picked out. And they're amazed by how much loss there is by cooking and deboning and slicing the ham.
You still sold a lot of whole country hams or more?
Just mainly at holiday season. People don't know how to prepare them, and people's lost out on how to cook them. They don't know what to do with the whole ham. And so we really recommend that you either buy a pre-cooked ham to give to somebody, or packaged ham for sliced for frying, rather than a whole ham, because you're putting a lot of work on that person. I mean, it's a nice gift, but then they're stuck with it. What do I do with this? And a lot of times they can't take it to the Kroger butcher. They say no, it has to be one of our hams. So it's kind of a disadvantage to give somebody a whole ham anymore.
Sure.
Yeah.
You sell most everything to individuals? You do some stores or?
We do how many stores and restaurants?
We've got about 10 Walmarts, 16 Krogers, 30 to 40 Save-A-Lot and Houchins, several restaurants, a lot of mom and pop groceries, C-stores. One of the big factors that changed in the ham industry was the package ham and the invention of the row stock. So when you can do a row stock, it gives you a store quality package versus a front load package that we would have to have used to have done. That we innovated the row stock because you can put out more packages per hour, which brings down your labor cost per package. Most people are going to be looking for a package of biscuit cut to take home to cook for breakfast than they are for a whole ham that's been processed into a single package. You're going to get more of your big ham purchases in your more niche country folk that have handed down the tradition of that process. They might buy the whole ham. You know, a guy that cuts his own wood, works on his own tractors, he might take his own ham and debone it and fix it up. You take a person that lives in the city and their great grandma used to cook them ham, they're going to want to pack a biscuit cut and they're going to be able to cook that easily. And so we're trying to cater to that, to keep it a traditional taste that people don't lose out on.
There's one business that's come on here in the last few years is these Kentucky Proud vegetables growers that have their own little shops. Man, they've really done well for us, and that's something that's just been new. Yeah.
Mail order pretty big? You guys do a lot of mail order?
We do good mail order. We kind of do a little bit of, so we have our front door sales, we do mail order. We have a truck on the road every day, so we, between those three things, we kind of make it work. Like you said, we used to have a dead spell in the summer. Now we kind of call it bacon season because when all the vegetables start coming in, a lot of people start calling for ham hocks, salt chunks. Then you have BLTs. So we sell some platter bacons that some other companies make. We don't make platter bacon, but we added that to our trucks to help profitability. And we got to where we delivered a lot of produce stands, which doesn't affect us in the winter when we're busy because they're shut down.
Sure.
Yeah.
You mentioned that, so you're just doing strictly hams and ham products, or?
Well, on the route we sell a few other things than, like I said, it's to offset our costs on the road.
We only produce country ham and sausage.
Yeah,
sausage.
Yeah, that's well, we do some bacon, but we don't do the platter style bacon. That's a water pump solution that and like remember Fisher's sliced bacon. It's a water pump product, and we sell that to some restaurants and stuff. Now we have a dry cured bacon.
Okay.
It's more expensive, it's been hung up and dry aged, where the other one's been pumped with water and salt and other seasonings and stuff in it. So, but that's the gist of it.
Tell me about your sausage. What makes your sausage special?
Seasoning. Seasoning.
Fresh pork, fresh ground pork.
We use the lean and fat. There's no hearts, livers, or anything, and it's not whole hog. when they say whole hog, we're talking whole hog.
Whole hog.
Yeah. This is just the lean meat and the fat meat, and mixed. And then we add he's helped develop a seasoning mix, and that's what I think really makes a sausage is your seasoning. And of course, I mean, all sausage is fat, fat and lean, but it's the seasoning that makes the flavor.
Sets it apart, and then temperature you grind it at, and the freshness of the sausage. But it can help with the texture and the absorbability of the seasoning into the meat when you're grinding according to temperatures. So, like if it was a hotter temperature, the seasoning would get deeper.
Okay, right.
But it might be a more rubbery texture. As whereas if it's colder when you ground it, the seasoning is going to be more surface and it'll be more tender when you eat it. So when you initially bite it, you're going to get more flavor if you keep it, say, around like 33, 34, 35 degrees.
Okay.
Yeah. If it gets up over 36, 37, you start having a fat bleed off and it'll get tough and you lose your fat content. Yeah.
Makes sense. Tell me about how the retail store developed here. How'd you develop your retail store now? You got, I guess, more than just ham in there, obviously.
Yeah. Well, it was already developed when I came into it. They were running it. It was kind of a little slow, but they were real busy on the Christmas. So we brought in cheeses, some high-end cheeses. They're Amish-made cheeses out of a company, Troyer. And then we brought in some chocolates, and they were doing some things that gave me some ideas to what to do. They were like repackaging some stuff, like we sell fish, frog legs, hamburger patties. We do platter bacons from 3 different companies. Like I said, we do some candies. We do Amish jams and jellies. We do carry some stuff where you can buy some bulk foods like that you could get off of a food truck. Like if you wanted the fish in cases, we have that. We can buy Pillsbury biscuits by the cases. We also offer that on our delivery trucks. So that was kind of like just trying to add what you could to help draw in people.
Yeah. Ham staying here in Kentucky? They going outside of the state, or where do you must
mail orders? My wife there. And we sell to all 50 states.
Really?
And then we have went into some foreign countries, haven't we?
Right.
And that's kind of grown a little bit over the years, but the shipping cost is starting to get to be a problem. But a lot of people move from Kentucky to different states, and then you got Tennessee, North Carolina, Virginia.
We ship to every state but North and South Dakota.
Really? Wow.
We've shipped to Canada. We've shipped to several European countries, usually military.
Oh, really?
People that are in the military. Yeah.
So these people that have moved, they still want taste of home, and so they'll get on the internet and order some hams, or they'll call us. We have an 800 number. They can call us. We ship it out, and my wife takes care of all the mail order business. We have some people that, I mean, they're just a regular customer on that phone calling us and say, "Well, I've run out of my ham. I need some more ham."
Don't mind sending them to me.
No, not at all.
I'll ask each of you, what do you, John, what's your vision? Where do you see it going from where we're in 2024 today? Where do you see it going in the next 10, 20 years? And same question you, Blake. Hang on.
I don't see a tremendous growth because family sizes are getting smaller. People are not having as many kids. But the people that are used to country ham, they feed it to their kids, and when they get older, they love it. They still order it. We've seen a lot of times where the mom and dad come in here and been buying hams from us for years, and then they pass away, and then their kids come in and say, "I missed my ham that my dad got for us every Christmas," and stuff. And so it will still continue to be, but it just seems like families are getting smaller, and it just there's going to still be a place for it, but I don't see a tremendous growth. I think for us to grow, we'll have to kind of look into a few other different products to add to it. He's been doing a summer sausage, a beef jerky, trying to get into a little more something. But he might have a different.
I was going to your question, same to you, Blake. Where do you see the next generation? Where do you see it going for you?
Well, you take a lot of the people that try to project it. They project that a lot of your baby boomers are going to get old and move along, and there won't be as many people that eat country ham. but like he said, they do pass down that to their children, and their children are going to eat it, and then so you don't. It's hard to say how many people pick up that taste for the country ham. Now, one thing is moving it into the cooked. The cooked is boiled and it's less salty, because you got a lot of people now that try to move away from salt. I think that one thing is to try to explain to people that salt's not bad. Now, there's this thing like salt's bad, and that's one of the misconceptions is, like, if you're somebody that's a heavy exerciser or something like that, to eat something salty after you worked out would be healthy. It's going to bring up your sodium level. So you don't want to over consume a salty product, but to eat a salty product is not bad for you. So that would be one thing, is marketing it, that stuff like that isn't as bad for you as they think. A lot of people think they're going to have a heart attack if they eat ham. A lot of times that's because of conditions that's already happened. If you're a healthy individual, that's not the case. So on a lot of heart medications or something like that, it's a different story. Also, like I said, so cooking the ham brings down the salt content. That's usually makes it a little more palatable for a lot of different people that wouldn't have maybe liked the taste of just the regular fried ham. So we noticed that makes it. We've worked with the country sausage that trying to get that going. That's also a thing for us that we try to do. But I see it staying at least to where we're at. We could actually increase in size. It'll be moving into the cooking, increasing all the cooking parts of things. We also have a lot of machinery and tech that we haven't been able to introduce that helps streamline our company to be more profitable. We're still working on being able to purchase that equipment, which will help us be more efficient. And that would open up avenues for other products if you have the time.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
He made a good point. I forgot about that. The bulk country ham is something that a lot of people that don't like country ham, when they eat this, they like it. People that don't even know about country ham, prosciutto ham. A lot of Italians and French and Spain, they eat a lot of prosciutto ham. Country ham is very, very similar to prosciutto ham. And so I guess there's more markets out there, but we're just in a center part of Kentucky.
Right.
So we have a lot of growth for us to do if we get outside of that little area that we're in. And but as far as bringing in new people to eat it, the cooked country ham, the bulk country ham, will bring us in. Like out in California in the wine district, it would go great with because they eat a lot of prosciutto with this pre-cooked country ham, bulk country ham. Perfect. It does. Prosciutto, when you eat it, it kind of wants to ball up in your mouth.
Right.
Bulk country ham does not do that,
No,
and it's still got the same flavor. It just
It's
doesn't.
got a better texture for somebody that didn't know what they were eating. I like the prosciutto, but it has a different texture.
Yeah,
Right, that's
it's kind of chewy,
Right.
and the country ham has the same flavor, but it's not
chewy.
not chewy. Yeah.
What do you love about it? What do you love about this? Why come back and do this?
It was kind of a passion I had when I was little. I really enjoyed the process of trying to experiment with different cures, different ages, seeing what you could come up with, and I liked that. And then I liked also selling. I like going out and meeting people and telling them about a product, and I enjoyed that part of it. And I missed it when I was at UPS because, you get in your truck and there's, you just deliver packages all day long, and probably 80-90% of my day was the same people, same stop, same road, and there wasn't a lot of challenges. And I missed some of the obstacles and challenges that you had when you was on your own. I don't miss trying to make pay the expenses all the time. The worry of am I going to make enough money this month to pay the expense? Don't like that part of it, but I enjoy the creativity of it, and that's what I missed. Want to come back to it. It's a kind of family tradition.
Sure, right, yeah.
We was known for country ham, and I just hated to see the whole thing just go away.
I like that. I think that's great. How about you, Blake? Why is it important to you? What do you love with this?
What I love about it is I really enjoy the fact of that we make a product, and I enjoy setting up the assembly line kind of things. I like to see how it's working in a like a clock, and I like to know that when I walk in a store and I see a package with a barcode on it and my emblem, that I made that emblem and the barcode. I know the person that cut that.
Right.
I know how it went through the process and like that. So the whole process of that happening, I like seeing. I call it like the clock. Like, you know, I always say you're firing up the machine. You know, like you come in, you're firing up the machine. Like it's like almost like an engine you've built. Like so, it's all happening, and you know how it's happening. I like that part of it and trying to streamline it and figure out the problems. And I like the challenges that it presents, like when something breaks, learning how to figure it yourself. And not calling somebody, or like I don't like to think somebody can do something I can't do. So like I don't like to be like I'm gonna call somebody that can do it. That to me, I'm gonna call them and I'm gonna watch them do it, and then I'm gonna figure out how to do it. Yeah.
I got one thing to say. Some people perceive country ham as all the same.
Mm-hmm.
Country ham is just like your beer or anything else. There's a difference in the amount of times people leave it in cure, how much cure they're applying to the ham, the age, the days they keep it in cure, the age process. So every ham family, like say, you know, you got several different ham companies there, and so they're not all the same. If you eat one country ham and say I don't like it, that doesn't mean they all taste that way. And we feel like once you taste ours, you say, hey, you know, that's better than that other one I eat.
There you go.
So I like, because we delivered to the store and they said, I already got country ham. Yeah, but it's not all country ham's the same. You know, so that's a misconception there that all country ham tastes the same. It doesn't.
The two things I think that a lot of people miss out on when they're making it is you have to have enough age on the ham to have the enzymes that give it the correct flavor.
Right.
Most of the people that have the knowledge to do that oversalt it. So when you have a company that are aging it long enough to get the correct enzymes in that ham for the flavor, they've oversalted the ham.
Yeah, this one guy told me, I said, how come you add so much salt to yours? He said, salt's cheaper than pork. And I said, well, you got a point there, but his ham was pretty salty.
If you can get your binding ratio with so unbinded to bonded water, so it's a free and unfree water that's in there, it binds the salt molecule, and then it doesn't make bacteria growth. So then that's when it's shelf stable, right? If you can find out that ratio just right, it shouldn't have a high. Even though if you got enough salt that it passes the criteria to be a country ham, you shouldn't have loss.
Right.
Has to be at least 4%, or you can't call it country ham. And it has
Or
to
a
have
high loss.
yeah, and it has to have at least 18% shrink, or you can't call it country ham. So some of these guys, they won't cut the age back because they want to turn their money over faster, because you know, as high as interest rate is, you don't want to pay interest. So they turn the heat up to get their shrinkage, because they got to have 18, but they want to do it at a fast pace.
That doesn't give them enzymes.
And then it kills some of the flavor.
If you smoke a ham at over 100 degrees, it kills the enzymes in it. So you have to cold smoke it. A lot of them heat smoke it. So like if you put a newspaper in an oven, certain temperature for a certain time, you can make it look like it's 100 years old.
Right.
So it's combustion. So we're all combusting. It's just controlling combustion. So they're trying to speed up the combustion, and you can't mimic. So they can do that, but it doesn't mimic the flavor.
No, only slow aging will get the flavor.
Speaking of competition, you got some good hams picked out at the state fair this year. Got your hams at the state fair?
He's a fair guy.
Yeah, got some really good hams picked out. I think they'll be pretty competitive. I like the looks of them.
What do you look for when you're picking those hams out at the state fair?
Symmetry. There's kind of the curve of the ham. It's kind of like a sports car in a way. If you know it, like I can't hardly describe what I'm looking for. I guess it's just something I see in my eye. But there's a certain shape and drop of the ham that I look for. The symmetry of it, that nothing is mushed in. Everything's smooth and pretty, and I don't like to do a whole lot of trimming on my hams. I like to try to catch them, the better looking ones out of my building, and then of course getting a good even smoke on it, and making sure that they have a real good aroma and that they were aged correctly.
in the country ham show is a beauty contest.
Right.
Yeah, it might not be the best thing, because it's a Grand Champion ham don't mean it's the best tasting ham.
Uh-huh.
It's the prettiest ham.
Class 5. Class 5.
No, last year we won the best tasting ham.
Right,
So
okay.
to me, that's the most important one.
That's good. It means a lot. Because you guys are first $1 million country ham. You guys sold that first
Yeah,
$1 million country
yeah.
ham.
And
How was it then?
There's a misconception on it. We don't get that $1 million.
Right.
You know, we had somebody send us email and said, I think you should share that money with your employees, and we had to, we didn't get none of that $1 million. Matter of fact, we lost the ham out of it. But it's very, very beneficial on advertisement. You get a lot of recognition on that, and that's, you know, we can't put a dollar amount on what that brings us. But Broadbent has won it several years, and I know it's brought him a lot of good attention, and especially, you know, mail orders and stuff.
Right.
You know, they can, you think this guy won
Right. Oh,
20 years in a row,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
Grand Champion ham, he'd have the best ham, but it's a beauty contest.
How did it feel when that ham sold for $1 million? You guys were both there.
Yeah.
How does it feel like when it hit that $1 million?
I cried.
My chest pumped up, my head swelled a little bit, you know, as, you know, I don't care if it is a beauty contest, if you win it, you just like, you kind of feel like getting rewarded.
Pretty nice. $1 million.
Yeah,
Everybody
I had
else
to
is
call
sitting on
back
their
and
hands.
tell everybody that we'd won. I got pretty emotional about it.
I bet so, yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, good bragging rights.
Yeah.
So
We've won it, what, 2-3 times?
3.
3 times.
Three times.
And like I say, the best one is to win that best taste.
It was in the 80s, 99, and then 2019.
Dad quit entering in there for a few years. He was getting older and lazier, and he just didn't want to get involved. It's too much work for him.
So he come back, help you pick the ham out for the ham show.
No,
You do. You
No, I remember when I was little, we done the straight salt cured no smoke, and they were
Right.
yellow looking. And we go up to the state fair, and at that time there were several ham cures still going in business, and they would put us in the corner because our ham looked so ugly. They were flat and they was yellow looking, and I was like, Daddy, come on, let's do something different. I'm embarrassed.
Right.
And then when we got to take over a little bit, we switched away from the salt and more of the sugar, and then we got to smoke it. Well, there for a while we didn't have a smokehouse, and I'd send them to another guy to smoke them for me, because if you didn't have a smoked ham, it didn't look
Right.
Although we don't sell very many smoked hams.
Right.
That's a southern flavor profile they used because they picked it up from bug control.
Oh,
So like a lot of people would smoke down south. They have a lot more bugs than they do here. There's smoke that happened here, but they wasn't as heavy. But that's been kind of like a new age thing. I think the like smoked bacon, smoked everything.
Right.
It's more of a southern thing that's kind of bled up into mid United States, I guess. Yeah.
It looks prettier smoked, but we want the ham aged
flavor, you want the flavor.
You just can't really. It's like a bacon. So a bacon or a jowl. If you smoke that, you can taste the smoke in it pretty substantially. With a ham, the skin's so hard. You would only get maybe a small penetration, like an inch, which would be the thickness of the bacon. Right. So you can get it through that, but any deeper, it's not much.
Bacon and hog jowl, it's not aged very long at all. It's just that wide, so you can't age it much at all. So you smoke it to give it some flavor.
Give it flavor.
Yeah, and in our hams, we don't want we don't want smoky flavor on our country hams.
Right.
Now, if we do a younger ham, we wouldn't have no flavor much, so you want to get a smoky flavor to it.
Jonathan came out here with me, Jonathan West from Farm Credit. How's Farm Credit been a good partner with you guys?
They're amazing.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend anybody to Farm Credit.
Yeah.
They're great to work with. They're easy to get a hold of. Their application process is so simple. They can tell you something usually within a day, or a lot of times just in a day. And of course, we've banked at a lot of different banks, and man, I'm amazed how they are and how easy and cooperative they are. They've helped us tremendously. We probably wouldn't be in business without them.
Yeah, we'll probably not.
You can get the interest rates right.
I'm buttering him up over here.
Working on the interest rates.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
Well, it's been a pleasure visiting you gentlemen today. Anything else you want to tell me about Penn Country Ham while we're talking? We may not have mentioned anything else out there stand out with you?
Well, I don't know.
I think we've covered most of the
Yeah,
bases.
we're really interested in growing
Yeah.
growing our business and adding different products. It's hard just to have one product to go out. You need to have several different products. Like I say, he's getting into summer sausage, beef jerky, smoked Joe. He's got into
Bacons are a
Dry
big
cured
thing now. We've been looking into the bacons, but then you have right now everything's stagnant with the inflation, so that's really put a hurt on the food market right
Really, another thing that's really hard is the mom and pop businesses going out. They wasn't controlled by one corporation. They was just the individual mom and pop, and you could get in stores easier, and you could walk in, talk to a person, and you was in the store that day or the next day or the next week when you come by deliveries. Now it's got into big corporations, and it is one hassle to get in places, and it's I miss the mom and pops. I miss them, and that's what I was talking about with these produce stands. They've really generated our summer business. Of course, country ham is not a summer item to eat, but it's really took off with our sausage, our bacon, and our country hams at these produce places. So visit them produce stands.
I like that. Good way, new way of marketing.
Yes, Kentucky stuff, grown, homegrown stuff, and we're Kentucky proud too. So
Right.
it's made here in Kentucky, and you happen to our tax base and our local workers, and buy home.
You can't
grown stuff.
Can't cook white beans without some.
That's right.
You got some good smoked ham or hog
Ox,
whatever. Ox, yeah.
Seasoning bacon.
Oh, yeah.
We do our seasoned bacon is not a smoked product. It's a dry cured salt and pepper bacon for seasoning, and that's what it's mainly used for, just seasoning. And that way your beans won't taste smoky; they'll just be good
flavor.
Flavor seasoning.
Well, thank you guys. Well, such a pleasure visiting. I enjoyed the tour of the plant and seeing what you guys do. How many people you guys employ? How many people work with you?
We'll vary between 15 and 20 people. When the slower times of the season, we might back off to around 15, 16 people. And then the busier time, we've swelled to anywhere from 25 to 26 people.
Give people some jobs here in local.
Yeah.
That's important.
Well, we got some that just,
We got everybody. We got everybody within very close proximity to our plant.
I'm sure they take a lot of ownership in it too.
Yes.
That's good though.
the better.
That's good. It's better, right? Well, thank you guys. Appreciate it. It's been a pleasure to visit with you. I love visiting with you guys.
We enjoyed having y'all.